Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. How to calculate your calories. How to calculate your calories for fat loss. How to calculate your calories for fat loss. Is that iambic pentameter? How to calculate your calories for fat loss. Right. Slippers! Slippers on. Glasses on. You promised me you were going to behave today. Welcome to the channel! I just can't move.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about how to calculate your calories for fat loss. It's a topic I get asked about all the time. It's also a topic that I think we need to develop a lot of understanding about, because we can't really begin to start losing weight unless we appreciate the intricacies of how many calories it is we need to eat. There's loads and loads of different things you can do in order to calculate your calories. There's lots of things on the internet you could just go off and find. But getting a bunch of numbers is one thing, but really understanding what those numbers mean, how you can then make sure that it's accurate for you, things like that, takes a little more understanding. And that's what we plan to do in today's video. So let's start at the top. What is a calorie? A calorie is a unit of measure. It's a measurement, it's a term we give to the measurement of the energy your food has in it. That's it. It's that simple, okay? In the same way 5k is 5k, like that's 5 kilometers, we can't change that distance. 1 calorie is 1 calorie. That's it. Now, people get confused over this because they think that 200 calories of a banana is better for you than 200 calories of a chocolate bar. And if we're talking about health, then we'll put that to one side. I don't get into conversations about health. The way I look at food is it more nutritious or is it less nutritious? That's a different argument. However, 200 calories of a banana, make no mistake, has the same amount of calories in it as 200 calories as a chocolate bar. 200 calories is 200 calories is 200 calories. Whether that be pancakes, whether that be cereal bars, whether that be crisps, whether it be salads, whether it be lettuce. If you used to eat 200 calories, you're going to get 200 calories into your body. Point 2, macros and calories. There's 3 macronutrients that you can have: protein, carbohydrates and fat. Protein is 4 calories per gram. So every gram of protein you eat, there's 4 calories in it. If you was to have 20 grams of protein, you're going to have 80 calories of food. Carbohydrates, 4 calories per gram. So that's the same. You're going to have, if you was to have 20 grams of carbohydrates, of rice, lentils, whatever, you're going to consume 80 calories. And then fat is 9 calories per gram. And we'll leave that there. I don't generally get my clients to focus on fat just because it's going to be there. It is what it is. Let's just leave that alone. Plus, if you know me, you know I'm really bad at maths, and therefore I can't do 9 times 4 in my head, or 9 times 20 in my head. Yeah, right, you can tell what I'm saying. Protein is going to fill you up more. So therefore, if we're eating more carbohydrates, even though the calories are the same, if we're going to be eating more carbohydrates throughout the day, chances are our body isn't going to use as much of that energy as it wants. It's going to excrete more of it, and therefore we're going to get a little bit more hungrier throughout the day, and then you can see how it's just going to spiral out of your control. Which is why anyone who will be talking to you about a fat loss diet will be talking about get your protein consumption up. By increasing your protein consumption, you're going to feel fuller for longer, it's going to satiate you more, it's going to fuel your body in a better way, and you're going to feel better. Now, there's extremes to this, and those extremes are out there, i.e. keto, and that's fine, leave them over there. It doesn't matter how you balance these 3 things, as long as you balance these things within the calories that you're allowed. How do you know if you're losing weight? I get asked this a lot. I get clients all the time coming to me going, I don't know if I'm losing weight. How do I know? What's the signs? So we'll break it down. There's lots of signs that you are losing weight that you might not be aware of. 1, energy levels might be increased. 2, your clothes are feeling better. 3, you look a bit better in the mirror. 4, you prefer photos. 5, you've got a bit more confidence about yourself. And 6, the last one, you can check on the scale, of course. And the scale is often the first thing people go to. And that makes sense because we're conditioned to think that the scale is what's most important. The real truth is, how do you know if you're losing weight? It's trial and error. We don't. Chances are if you're interested in how to calculate calories for fat loss, if you're on this video, chances are that you've already somehow, once upon a time, figured out how many calories it is you're meant to eat. And you've tried it, and it either did work or it didn't work, or you couldn't figure out why it worked, or you just wasn't sure. And then you might have given up. And what we need to do is we need to give ourselves enough time. You must give yourself enough time to find out if you are losing weight. So many people these days want to know if they're losing weight within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It takes longer than that. Right now on my Instagram, at the Gym Starter, right this very day, I am doing a 30-day weigh yourself every day challenge. And the scale is going crazy. It goes up, it goes down, it's leveling out, it's going up, it goes down. I'm on like day 4, 5, I've lost weight, I've gained weight, I've gone through it all. But I'm never really gonna know what the final result is until I've been consistent with it for 30 days. And that's another video I'm gonna do about weighing yourself every day. But you have to give yourself time, 90 days. Give yourself a number, figure out a number, which we're gonna get to, and give yourself time to see if that number's going to work. Right now, if you decide after this video to download my calorie calculator, and if you decide to go, right, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna do what Adam says, great, it's the first day of the rest of your life. That doesn't mean the rest of your life is gonna end in 3-4 weeks time when it's not worked. It's gonna end in maybe, well, hopefully never, because you're gonna understand that in order to know if we're losing weight, we can only use trial and error. We can only try something for 2-3 months, 90 days, and move forward from there. See how it worked, and then make changes, and then go again, and then make changes. One of the biggest problems in the fitness industry is, or consumers of the fitness industry I should say, is we don't give ourselves enough time. And it's something you've got to start doing because you owe it to yourself. So now let's talk about the formula for fat loss. How to calculate your calories for your fat loss journey. Now, I like to work with something that I call a calorie window. The thing is I could spout out all kinds of formulas to you now. I could tell you exactly how to figure out all those numbers and everything else. Let's forget that right now. You don't need to know about those because, in all honesty, if you go through the description on this video, my calorie calculator is there for you to download and it does it all for you. You don't need to know what the numbers are. All you need to know is that I'm going to work you in an upper and a lower calorie window. Now my upper I got from Jordan Sayat, and he says take your goal body weight in pounds and times that by 12. So that is take your goal body weight in pounds and times that by 12. So if you want to weigh 150 pounds, times that by 12, you'll be getting 1800 calories a day. Perfect. And then we're going to have a lower window. And that lower window is set to your basal or your resting metabolic rate. Now basal and resting metabolic rate, they're very similar, they're not quite the same thing, but you can choose either. I work towards basal metabolic rate just because resting metabolic rate can change slightly dependent on a few environmental factors. So we're going to go basal metabolic rate. And don't worry about how to figure that out. My calorie calculator does it all for you. So why do I use a calorie window? Because On days where you're stressed, on days where the kids are driving you nuts, on days where work is ridiculous, on days where you're just too tired to focus on hitting your calories, I'm giving you a zone. I'm giving you an area of calories that you can stick within to know that you are still losing weight. Yes, okay, if you're going to hit your upper window 5 days out of 7 over a 3-month period, you're going to lose weight ever so slightly slower than if you hit your lower. But I don't want you to make your calories a pass-fail thing. I don't want you to think, my goodness, I've gone over by 10 calories today. I've failed. You haven't. You haven't failed. All you've done is been a human being, and it happens to us all. And therefore, if you've gone over your upper by 10, 20, 30 calories, heck, even maybe 100 calories, then you know all you've got to do is hit your lower for the next few days. I'm giving you an area to work within because it's going to give you the flexibility you need if you want to go out socialize, if you have a date, if you just fancy pizza from Domino's that evening. Then as long as you're within your upper calories, you're going to be fine, because some days your lower calorie window is just going to be unachievable. And when it starts becoming too unachievable too often, that's when people stop tracking their calories. That's when people stop working on their fat loss. That's when people stop. And I don't want you to stop. I want you to be doing this, as I said earlier, for the rest of your life. Don't get me wrong, you don't need to track your calories for the rest of your life. But what I mean is, I want you to get calorie educated. I want you to understand the discipline it can require sometimes. And I want you to get to a point where you just know what you're doing. You could spend maybe 3-4 months working on this, maybe 5 or 6, depending on who you are, depending on how it goes. And then on the other side of it, you'll have a much better handle on how it's working with you, how it's working in your body, and how you can manipulate it and fall back into the patterns you need to fall back into in order to keep yourself moving forward, in order to keep yourself making the right progress. And that's what it's about. You're going to be so much more successful if you fall within a target, a zone, an area, than if there's a line in the sand and on this side of the line you failed and on this side of the line you've succeeded. Because life isn't that black and white. And I personally don't think your calories should be either. So your goal body weight in pounds. Now, what do I mean by goal body weight? I mean, it's something that you aspire to. It could be a weight that you've achieved before. It could be a weight you know that you was once and it felt really good. It was okay to maintain. That's where you want to be. It's not, I want to be a size 6 supermodel on the stage and I've got to weigh this to be that person. It's not that. That will get too restrictive. It's, where was I when I was most comfortable? And then you're going to work towards getting there. You might not get all the way there, and that's absolutely fine. In fact, that's great, because if you feel better, if your target is 130, but you feel better at 135, happy days. Stay at 135 if you're happy. Why would you try and push to the 130 mark? Again, give yourself a zone. With your goal body weight, give yourself a zone. A zone of acceptance. A zone of a weight, a number that you think is going to work for you. And that is where your success will lie. So number 5 on my list here is experiment. You're going to have to experiment with this. You might get this wrong to start with. This might be too unachievable to start with. You might never fall in the window that I need you to fall in. But this takes us back to, how do you know if you're losing weight? You have to try it. You have to try it over a consistent period of time. And only once you've done that, should you then review. If you work in a business, if you work in sales, if you work in anything, we can only try and review. That's it. And reviewing, if it hasn't gone so well, is not the end of the world. It's just what happened. That's all it ever is. A lot of my clients say it is what it is to me. And I'm always like, Well, it's never what it's not. And it's not. Life is only ever what it is. You only have the moment right now. You only have what has happened. You can't worry about the if, buts and maybes. You can only worry about what you've actually done. And if you've done this, if you've fallen in your calorie window zone, then when you come to review your experiment, you'll have facts to deal with. You won't have feelings and subjectivity. You won't be like, yeah, but. You'll be like, no, I did this. And my last point on how to really calculate your calories for fat loss, if you haven't got it already, it's give yourself time. That's all you need, is time. We have an abundance of it if we choose to have an abundance of it. You can't, this will not work. This will not work in 4 weeks. But it will work if you're consistent over 3 months. In 4 weeks, you might get there and be like, I'm really not sure what's changing. You might hit a plateau. You might get great results to start with, and then it just vanishes off and you don't know what's going on and you start to get worried. That's when you have to be more consistent, and you have to understand that you're giving yourself time. You're not trying to do this in 6 weeks. If you want someone to do that with you, go find them. I'm not that coach. You are here to give yourself time. Unlock yourself from the prison of time. Because when you do, you'll take the pressure off. And when the pressure is off, you will find freedom and happiness in doing the work, enjoying the journey, rather than just being focused on the result. Because if you don't give yourself time, this isn't going to work quick enough, and then you're going to give up. And then how do you know if you're losing weight? You'll never know. You'll never know whether you can do it, because you never gave yourself enough time to properly find out. And that's what you need to do. Right, that's it from me for today. I'm at the Gym Starter. I hope you've enjoyed this video, my second educational video. As I mentioned in the video, my calorie calculator is available for you to download in the description. So just scroll down, grab that. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It will download straight onto your computer, and you are more than welcome to use it. If you have any questions for me about it, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them on the next video. I cannot wait to hear from you. And as always, peace, love and protein. High fives and positive vibes.